Okay. So give it another minute to start.
Okay.
I'll cut an intro just to remind everybody that I am recording for future use. So with that, I'll begin. Good morning and thank you for joining Arrow Wire and Cable and Trend Networks meeting today. If we have not met, my name is Carlos. I am the marketing manager here at Arrow Wire and Cable. My main goal is always to bring you the latest information, product in the market. For a second. Okay. So with that, let me turn it over to Mike Luciano, the Western Regional Sales Manager for Trend Network. So Michael, sorry.
Excellent. Thank you, Carlos. Well, my name is Michael Luciano. I'm the Western Regional Sales Manager with Trend Networks, formerly Ideal Networks. And along with myself today, we do have Mike Grindell, our VP of Sales for North America.
Hi, so Mike Grindell, been in the industry since 1995. Was with Fluke Networks for quite a while. I've been with NetAlly as well. So I've been kind of around the block a few times with these tools. I'm at Trend because I love where this company is going. I love the growth trajectory they are on. We are number 2 player in the market. We are the fastest growing by far with strong double-digit growth. Not teens, we're talking 30 to 50%, depending on the product category that you look at. So there is a trend wave going about, and it's something that I would just wanted to be a part of. As Michael said, we used to be Ideal Networks up until actually March 30th of this year. So it's really, I guess this is 1 month, our 1 month anniversary as Trend. We changed the name. We were part of Ideal Industries. And when you have Ideal Industries and you go to Ideal Networks and you're a separate company, that was hard for the market to separate those two. We still felt a part of Ideal Industries, even though we were a totally separate company. So we wanted to rebrand. We are our own company. We're backed by CBPE Capital, totally separate from Ideal Industries. So we decided, you know what, let's just go with a name that's well known in the industry. We actually acquired Trend Communications way back when. It has a strong brand name, so we went with Trend Networks. At some point, we'll stop saying formerly Ideal Networks, but we're probably going to do that for a couple of months just so everybody knows. Same people, same ownership, same products, same SKUs, same pricing, just a name change. Okay. Next slide, please. When you rebrand, when you change your company name, it's also a chance to look at your brand and proposition. What does that mean? What does it mean to be part of Trend Networks? And what we wanted to really emphasize is you can depend on us. That is our ingrained philosophy. When we say depend on our equipment, we will not stop calibrating it. We will not stop supporting it. If you have a Trend Networks or Ideal Networks product that is serviceable, we're going to service it. We're not going to stop calibrating it. Just if we can calibrate it, we're going to calibrate it. Now, there's going to be some point where there's components of a particular product that you just can't buy anymore. For example, you want to go buy a 9600 baud modem right now, you probably can't find one. At that point, we'll say, you know what, we can no longer repair this one. However, if you're interested, we'll give you a 30% discount on the latest generation product. So we really want to stand behind our equipment. Our data and our support, I won't read those in detail, but just one highlight on the support. You call us, we answer the phone. That is our goal. If we do not answer the phone, if we cannot get to it, because sometimes calls do get backed up and there's more calls than there are people to handle them. But regardless of whether you're a Sapphire Care Plan or not, if you need us, we're going to get back to you. And we have a 2-hour internal SLA. Bells and whistles go off if we can't get back to you in 2 hours. So that is something, again, we pride ourselves on. We want to be there for you. With that, we are headquarters in UK. Like I said, we're really strong in all over Europe. I was hired in last year, 2019, at the end of 2019, actually, to take what they've done in Europe and really kind of replicate that in the US. So in number 1, number 2 in some markets in Europe, and again, we are fast growing in the US and quickly closing that gap. So we do have a U.S. headquarters in Rockaway, New Jersey, where we have distribution, warehousing, we have customer service and support. We do repairs and calibrations, and you name it, finance. That's where you send your POs to, and so on and so forth. So that is our U.S. headquarters. Oh, there we go. You can see the office that we have there. And another thing I'd like to point out is we try to, with our partners, we try to be very easy to do business with as well. So we have very, very low requirements. We, handle the shipping. We don't, gouge you and say you have to have a $10,000 minimum order or whatever. So we try to be very easy to do business with. Couple of key contacts here. I want to give you the regional sales managers. So we'll have maps, but at the end of the day, if you need to contact us, if you need to reach us, this kind of just give you a loose idea. You could always just contact Michael, and whether it's U.S., Canada, Latin America, Europe, Brazil, it doesn't matter. If you need something and you don't know where to go, contact one of us, and we'll either help you or get you in the right place to do so. Okay, so I don't need to read all those for you, but I wanted to just kind of give you that overview. Okay, so Michael, why don't you take it over from here?
Excellent. Thank you, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
So Trend Networks, who are we? We are a global leading manufacturer of testers in the low voltage space. So as you can see in the illustration below on this slide, a lot of different families of testers that range across the board, from copper, fiber, active and password networks, PoE, industrial Ethernet, and security cameras. So why do you care? I know that we've got a mix of people that are attending this call and that will be watching the recording of this call. So depending on who you are, it's probably going to mean a few different things. If you are an installer or an end user, why do you care about test equipment? The answer is pretty simple. Almost everything these days is being run over twisted pair or fiber. And when you have all these applications, copper and fiber cable, panels, enclosures, cameras, wireless access points, access control, voice, Ethernet, almost everything is going over the network. And with the Internet of Things and smart buildings, both on the residential and commercial level, the one constant is that it's all being run over twisted pair or fiber optic cabling. So how can you ensure that your application and your install is being done correctly and is working correctly? And that answer is by testing it, by using quality test equipment, which removes all the guesswork. It is going to tell you definitively, yes, you installed correctly, your system is going to work without issue, or it's going to say, hey, we might have a problem here or there. This is where the problem is, which really helps you expedite the process of fixing that problem and getting back on the right path. Now, when it comes to test equipment, a lot of folks out there are confused, and rightfully so. There's a lot of different offerings, both with our offering and with a lot of other competitors. So that's where we really differentiate ourselves from some of the other manufacturers out there of test equipment, is that we really have pride in our service and support. We understand that picking and selecting the right piece of test equipment is not an easy process, and we're here to help. So like Mike mentioned earlier, between myself being the Western Regional Sales Manager, my counterparts in the South and the East, Mike and our teams in Canada, Latin America, and all over the world, all you got to do is reach out and ask. Because we have so many different flavors, different families of testers, there's a few, qualification questions we're going to ask, which are really going to help narrow it down. So some of these questions are listed below. I'm not going to read all of them to you, but by asking and answering some of these simple questions, that will help us guide into the right avenue, the right family of tester. Because guess what? Not everybody needs a $25,000 certifier. In some instances, when you're doing warrantied work, yeah, you do need a certifier, and there's no way going around it. but in many others you don't. And that's where we come in, is finding prospective customers, find that sweet spot. Maybe we don't need a certifier. Maybe we need a qualifier. Maybe we just need an IP camera configurator or a PoE tester. Every customer is unique. Every application is unique. And we are here and we're dedicated to help find our partners make the right selection and the right fit with their particular needs.
Yeah, I'll add one thing to that on the support piece of it. We also have a network of reps like Jeff Smullen here with Coastline Networks that has a local presence in most major cities. So again, whether it's a Trend Networks direct employee or one of our extended family reps that is factory trained and certified on our tools as well, we have a network to get you the support that you need when you need it.
Great point, Mike. Sorry, Jeff, forgot to mention, and I'll mention it right now. We got Jeff Smullen on the phone with us. He is with Coastline, based out of San Clemente. He is our partner in Southern California. So when it does come to the folks that are located in Southern California, Jeff is available. He's got a full suite of our demo gear. So if any of our pieces of test equipment do appeal to you and you want to get your hands on it, whether in the office, out in the field for a trial, he is available and more than happy to assist. Alrighty, so we wanted to spend a few minutes to just go over some of our unique product families. Like I mentioned earlier, we really do have a full offering, a full array of test equipment. So we're just going to kind of start at that upper echelon with the LandTech 4. The LandTech 4 is the newest and most advanced and fastest certifier on the market today. 7 seconds for Cat 6A testing, which is industry leading. And something else that is really cool and worth noting is that this does include the full suite of tests, both the required tests per the TIA standards and what they dub the optional tests. So having the ability to run all of that within 7 seconds is really a great feature. A lot of our customers that are engaged in some medium to larger size installs where they have hundreds or thousands of drops have come back to us and said, hey, 7 seconds is a lot better than 10. It's a lot better than 16 if we're doing some of these optional tests. And you guys are shaving hours off of our installs. And shaving hours off of their labor costs equates to adding money in their pocket, keeping money in their pocket and adding to their bottom line. So LandTech 4, one of the easiest, most intuitive interfaces of all certifiers in the market today. Our patented VisiLink adapters, TeamViewer remote control, which is a extremely valuable and unique function to us, where you could have anybody remote into the unit with your permission and help out from a distance. You don't need to be in the same room. You don't need to be in the same facility. And then lastly, it is compatible with world-class Trend Anywhere Cloud. The Anywhere Cloud not only is going to help you quickly offload your test results onto the cloud, but could also be used to pre-configure tests on the front end, reducing the risk of errors or novice technicians not setting up the testing properly. So the LandTech 4, we launched it in August of 2019. We've had a tremendous amount of success, great feedback from the users that have migrated towards this platform. And we do anticipate steady growth going forward into the future. Now moving on into this middle section, the FiberTech 4, these are the fiber optic modules that accompany the LandTech 4. So the LandTech 4 is going to come with a head-end unit, a remote unit, along with the permanent link and channel link adapters for copper testing. Say that you're an installer or you're an end user and you have a need for fiber certification. That's where the FiberTech 4 comes in. Think of it like the old school Game Boys. They're modular. You pop out the cartridge of the game that don't want to play anymore. You put in the Mario or the Donkey Kong or whatever you do want to play. Same concept. You pop out the copper modules when you're done with the copper, and you slap in the fiber techs, available in both single mode and multi-mode. And then you just plug in your jumpers, your fiber optic patch cords, and you're off to testing. So very easy to use, minimal learning curve, and it's going to help you do your certification quicker, more reliably, and more efficient. Lastly, down at the bottom is our OTDR. It is the OTDR2, which is meant for Tier 2 single mode and multi-mode fiber certification. So let's just say you certify using our LANTEK and our FiberTech 4. You've got 100 fiber drops, and then 99 of them come back as a pass. You're good. But there's one that came back as a fail. Well, what happened? Why is it a fail? Unfortunately, with certifiers across the board, not just ours, but all certifiers, it's not going to tell you the distance to fault. If you have a crack or a break in your fiber cable somewhere, you're really kind of shooting in the dark. You don't know where that is. That's where the OTDR comes in. It will definitively tell you, hey, you've got a break in your fiber cable 240 feet from the front end. So it takes a lot of the guesswork out. Very valuable from an install and an operational standpoint. And it has proven to be a vital requirement in the Tier 2 testing space. Now, moving on from those testers, which are really our big dogs, our really robust testers, we're talking full-blown certification, Tier 1 and Tier 2 testing. Everything listed on this slide is not quite the same. These are more nimble units. They're very functional. They all have a great purpose, but a different purpose. These are not certification tools. These are more so qualification or verification. So unless you're trying to get a warranted install with a connectivity and cable manufacturer, you probably don't need a certifier. You probably don't need to spend upwards of $10,000 to get a certifier tester. Any of these might work. So starting at the top with our SignalTEK CT, it will give you a pass-fail PDF report per the IEEE standards, which for a lot of folks is all that they need. So you don't need to buy in and buy these expensive, huge packages in a lot of instances. And the SignalTEK 10G also has a lot of other great features with some networking functions and features. It does use TDR technology, time domain reflectometry, to do wire maps, let you know if you have any splits, twisted pairs, anything like that. Moving on, below the SignalTEK CT, we've got our VDV series, which there's a few different flavors in there. So these are just very simple, basic testers that will do a wire map. They're going to let you know if you've got issues, and if you do have issues, how to quickly adjust and correct them, how to fix it. Very affordable price point. So a lot of our users that have invested in our VDV2 series will buy one, they'll use it in the field for a project, and they'll say, this is awesome. This is a really valuable tool that's saving us a lot of time and helping us do our jobs better. And we want to go ahead and get every technician on our team one to throw in their tool bag because it is that valuable. So it's a great tool. It's at a very attractive price point. And kind of piggybacking on that technology of the VDV2 series is our PoE Pro. Our PoE Pro, from a functional standpoint, is going to do everything that the VDV2 does, but in addition to the wire mapping features and functionality, it is going to do a whole suite of PoE tests as well. Something worth noting, it will go up to the full 90 watts, which is the PoE++ standard. So for some of these, big power-hungry devices that are being utilized all the time now, Wi-Fi 6 devices, night vision cameras, stuff like that, you're going to need something a little more robust, not just to power them up that goes up to the 90 watts, but also just to test that switch, test that cable link. Is that switch pushing the 90 watts that it needs? Is that length of the cable from between where the switch is located and where the device is located? Are you getting lost there? Are you starting with 90 watts at the switch and then dropping, losing a few on the way and not getting enough at the device end? These are all questions that in the past people would just guess. They plug it in and cross their fingers and say, golly, I hope this works. Well, you don't have to guess anymore. The PoE Pro will tell you with certainty, hey, you're good. You don't need to worry about it. You don't need to cross your fingers and pray. Plug it in. It's going to tell you, you got 90 watts, you got 60 watts, whatever it's supposed to be, it's going to let you know. And then you can move on to bigger and better things. Listed just below the PoE Pro is our VFF5. Very simple tool, but very, very valuable. Sometimes when you're testing fiber, you might have a break in that fiber. That example I just mentioned before about the OTDR, yeah, the OTDR is going to tell you exactly where that break is. But guess what? The VFF5 is going to do something very similar too, at a much lower price point. It's pretty much a really fancy flashlight. It's a really fancy fiber flashlight. It is going to shoot a laser beam down your pathway, your fiber optic cabling pathway. And if there is a break in that fiber, it will illuminate it. So even with the jacket, it is going to light up and you are going to be able to tell visually, hey, it's lit up all red over here in the middle of the cable. That's where the break is. Let's bust out the fusion splicer, give it a fusion splice, and voila, we're good. So very valuable tool when pathways are accessible and visible. And then lastly, down at the bottom, we have the Fiber Master. Accurate and simple measurement of fiber optic power in milliwatts and decibel watts. It's all about testing and troubleshooting. So once again, very economical price points. You don't need to spend $10, $15, $20,000 for a certifier or an OTDR in a lot of instances. And this will help you troubleshoot, identify, and correct any issues with your fiber optic installs. Now moving on, we've got our Secure Test IP. This is one of the industry's leading IP camera configurators and testers. It is a jack of all trades. There's a whole lot that fits into the small compact design. So it's a little tablet, fits in your hand easily. It's got the touchscreen display, so there's no need to go to the job site with a monitor, no need to bring a PoE injector, no need for your laptop, no need for a wire mapper, no need for a PoE tester. It is all in one. Quickly configure, set up your camera installs, and then seamlessly convert all that information into a professionally formatted and really slick looking PDF report that you could share with your customers, with your partners. Very attractive price point. MSRP is at $750, and just another great tool that's really helping shave a lot of labor hours off of projects. Moving on, we've got the SignalTEK series. And as you can see, we've got several different flavors in this one as well. So this is our network tester. A little bit different. A lot of the cabling guys might not have a need for this, but this really does speak to a lot of the folks that play in that networking space, that IT space. Fast detection of links and IP information, duplex, speed, port ID, VLAN, DNS, DHCP, gateway status, and IP address. These are all really important things, and having the ability to quickly identify and map these out makes the installs and the maintenance of these networks a million times easier. Moving on, the LAN Explorer Pro. It is an inline tester meant for a little bit more complex analyzing and diagnosing of networks. So once again, this one is geared a little bit more towards the IT crowd. Might not be of as much interest to the cabling folks, but there is some great information, some really pertinent information that could be quickly figured out using this tester, which then helps your job of moves, adds, changes, or even new installs, making sure it goes as smooth as possible. Second to the last column is the SignalTEK NT and the SignalTEK Pro. So this builds on our SignalTEK CT platform that we touched on. The CT is copper only, but the NT is fiber as well, copper and fiber. So it's time to prove performance. This is a transmission tester, and worth noting, a dual double-ended transmission tester. So there are some other pieces of test equipment out there that say, hey, we test performance. We're going to give you a data transmission rate or speed, but, and that's a big but, we're not actually going to give you the actual speed. We're going to give you an estimate based off of some calculations, some algorithms, some electronic guesstimations. That's not us. We got both ends, front end, remote end. It is actually simulating network traffic and then definitively telling you, hey, you've got 1 gig speed. Your Cat5e is working as it should. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And no, this is not a guesstimate. This is actuality. So the SignalTEK NT and SignalTEK Pro, fantastic tools, testing up to 1 gigabit per second speeds, which really makes a lot of applications like CCTV, IPTV, VoIP, and web traffic a lot easier to do. And then lastly, our crown jewel is our new SignalTEK 10G. So the SignalTEK 10G is going to piggyback on the foundation of the SignalTEK NT and the Pro, but it's going to go all the way up to 10 gigs instead of 1 gig. So once again, worth noting, this is a complete solution, dual-ended. You got the head-end unit, the remote unit, and it is actually simulating network traffic. This is not a, hey, this is our estimate. Hey, we think that you're probably getting these speeds, or this might be the advertised speeds. This is going to say, hey, this is what you got. There's no sugarcoating it. There's no fudging it. When you need to know the exact speeds, utilizing transmission testing is really the most advanced and the most accurate way to go about it. And we're very, very proud of our solution and bringing it to the market from launch, which was about 2 months ago. So not only will it do those types of tests, it also taps into a plethora of networking tests as well. So for those IT folks out there, not only can you do a lot of your cabling, transmission speeds, but also a full suite of networking tests with pings, trace routes, net scans, and the like. Also worth noting, our SignalTEK 10G is cloud compatible. And you could do onboard PDF reports. So we make it very simple, not just to set up the tester and run the test, but once the test has been run, regardless of whether it's a pass or a fail, we make it really easy to export that data onto the cloud if you would like, or to have it on the tester yourself. And you could show your customer, your end user, your contractor that you sub the work out to, whoever, you could just show it to them. Hey guys, this is the test results. So that's really cool, and something else that's very unique to us that I don't think I've seen it with anyone else out there. So we're really proud of our 10 gig solution. We've had a tremendous amount of success in the little time since we've launched, and we definitely anticipate having more success as more time goes on. All righty. Back to our LANTEK 4. So LANTEK 4, this is a full-blown certification solution. Not everybody needs a certifier, but if you do need a certifier, I like to think we've got the best in the market. Industry's fastest, 2 models to choose from. 500 megahertz will accommodate up to Cat 6a testing, and then the 3 gigahertz version will accommodate up to Cat 8.2 if you have a need for that type of applications. Now, Here in the States, there's not much Cat 8. Usually when they need those speeds, you're going to run it over a single mode fiber. However, it's hard to tell what's going to happen a year down the road. It's hard to tell what's going to happen 5 or 10 years down the road. So knowing that, we do have a lot of pride in giving our users and our customers the ability to adapt to the ever-changing environment and the ever-changing TIA requirements. So I don't think Cat 8 is going to jump off anytime soon, but this really ties into our depend on us motto and mantra and our depend on our equipment. And if a customer is going to invest and buy one of our certifiers, rest assured, 5 years, 10 years down the road, you're going to be covered regardless of what changes in applications and standards might occur. And like I mentioned before, it's got the fiber options. You could slap in the SignalTEK 4 modules for easy and quick fiber certification as well. We've got these really cool VisiLink adapters that are going to light up, giving you a visual indicator of a pass and fail. Light up green if it's a pass, red if it's a fail. And really the team viewer is one of the most unique features. The unfortunate reality is there's a lot of younger or newer technicians that have not had experience in the field. And it's very easy to mess up, to be honest with you. It's easy to press the wrong button. It's easy to set up the wrong test. And if you don't have the experience and if you haven't done much certification in the past, there's a lot of things that could go wrong. So the team viewer is a fantastic tool that helps combat that. It kind of takes the ability for mistakes to happen away from the technicians and hands some of that power and control over to the project managers, to the program managers, to the end users. If you're an end user or if you're a PM and you know what kind of testing you need to do, you could set it up at your desktop, at your computer in less than 60 seconds. And with a click of a button, push that down to the unit. And then when your technician's in the field, it's just plug and chug at that point. They don't need to configure anything. It's all set and good to go. Secure Test IP, I know we already kind of touched on that. I would like to show you an example of the report. And just like how I mentioned earlier, very clean how it could insert the photos of the camera that you're configuring and setting up into a professionally formatted and good looking test report. So it shows a lot of pertinent information about the cameras being utilized and installed, hardware versions, serial numbers, time zones, firmware versions, software versions of the system. So a lot of great information is included in here. And then something else that's great is on the top left-hand corner, it's completely customizable. You can put in your company's logo. If you're an integrator or a contractor, you could easily put your logo up there, and it just makes your work and your test results stand apart from your competition, who might be Boy Scouting Excel spreadsheets and just kind of plugging and chugging, spending a bunch of time, and then sending over an Excel spreadsheet. So not only will it help that install go smoother, but it will help elude confidence with your customer and your customer base that you are a professional organization that takes pride in the aesthetics. So moving on, I know I did touch on the SignalTEK 10G. I would like to pass it back to Mike Grindell. We do have a short video. We're not going to play it for you right now. I definitely encourage you all, if you have a minute and 40 seconds, to go to our YouTube channel or to go to Arrow Wire and Cable's YouTube channel or their other social media channels. But we've got a bunch of great videos. There's no shortage of resources or information. But this SignalTEK 10G really is a game changer. We've been working really hard and have had some just great feedback from a lot of the folks that have bought in and have been using it. And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Mike Grindell to discuss it a little bit further.
Sure. Thanks, Michael. So I think you've already covered a lot of the basic overview here. So the thing about the SignalTEK 10G is this tool really hit the market at the right time. One of the biggest benefits here is multi-gig technology or in-base technology. And what I mean by that is you had perhaps a Cat 5e system, cabling system installed, back whenever. There's new technology now that you might be able to run faster than 1 gig on that Cat 5e cabling. You get a multi-gig switch that goes 1 gig, 2.55, or 10 gig. And you might be able to find that you can add in additional cameras, high definition cameras for security or whatever it might be. You might find that all this video conferencing is stressing the network. You might find that there's other things, Wi-Fi 6, for example. You want to deploy Wi-Fi 6, you have a lot of bandwidth coming in through the air, but if you have a gigabit pipe on the back of that access point, you're going to have a built-in bottleneck right there. So you have two choices. Either replace the cabling and go in for a Cat 6A install, or I look at my existing cabling with something like a SignalTEK 10G that, as Michael said, actually simulates the type of traffic you're going to be running onto that network. And not just on the cable, we'll go through the switches from end to end on your network to see, can you get the information, the data rates that you need. You might find that your existing Cat 5e cabling can get you 2.5 or even 5 gigs sometimes. You might find that your 6 cabling can get you 6A rates. So it's a lot cheaper to do that performance testing, to take a look at your existing infrastructure, and you may not have to replace it. Get a multi-gig switch. Well, first of all, get a SignalTEK 10G, see what the maximum throughput you can put on that link is, and now you can find out, okay, let me go get a multi-gig switch, and now I can get my Wi-Fi 6 access points, or the other 40 cameras that we wanted to run through, or just whatever other application you wanted to run on there. So the multi-gig performance, as you can see in this illustration right here, can be deployed all over the network. And again, this is a relatively new technology, and is specifically designed to take advantage of the headroom that was in your cabling installs. Again, you certify, as we talked about with the LANTEK and perhaps FiberTech, you certify to a standard. And that standard says you should be able to get this type of bandwidth. You take a SignalTEK 10G, a transmission tester, end to end, and you actually put data on that cable. So that's when we start getting into, we can actually run this. So what we're showing right here is when we designed the SignalTEK 10G, that was the main focal point of the design. When you have a tool like this, though, there's going to be other things that you need that are going to come in handy. So of course, yes, we threw a wire mapper in there, because sometimes it's as simple as that. Ping trace route, of course that's in there, because sometimes you just need to see, can we get through the network? The PoE tester up to 90 watts, and again, not just saying, what is the advertised, but can I actually get it? On the end of my cable, at the far end of my network, I need to power these cameras. And Michael sometimes gives an example of a situation, a real world situation he ran into, where they were night vision cameras. Everything worked great during the day, but when night vision kicked on, they drew that extra power, they would be knocked offline. And the switch just simply could not support that much power. They didn't know that. SignalTEK 10G tells them that. Other things we have in here, the live remote control. Think about this, in our COVID world, we're still not travel friendly yet. You can literally overnight a tester and have, Jimmy Jr. go plug it into the network, and, Sam Sr. Literally team views into it and starts driving it from wherever he is in his office. You can overnight a tester. You do not have to overnight a person. And the remote control is literally as if you were sitting there on the unit itself. So really, really nice feature. The built-in Wi-Fi connectivity. If we had one, you could see it just has a sync button on it. After you do your test, hit sync, pops up to the the Trend Anywhere Cloud. I have to put some money in the swear jar for that one. The Trend Anywhere Cloud, and your results are there, stored as long as you want. Again, the PDF files again on board, or up in the cloud to give to your customer. Go back to that previous slide if you would, please. Yeah, just the main thing here is two ends. If you're going to do transmission testing, think about it. If you're going to say, can I certify, can I get this data rate across my network? It's not just from one end. You've got to have something on the other end that says, okay, here's what you're going to send me. I know what to expect exactly. Did I receive that? Okay, guess what? I want to send something back to you now, going the other way on the network. Did you get it? Did you know? So I can tell you all kinds of stuff by doing transmission testing that you simply cannot do just by looking at the electronics, the physical electronics of one end of the cable. So we can go to the next slide now. So on this one, I think I've already pretty much talked about all this, but the key thing here is SignalTEK, FiberTech will certify to the TIA standards. Okay, Cat 6, Cat 6A, Cat 8. The SignalTEK series certifies to the IEEE standards of 1 gig, 10 gig type of network performance. So we can, again, give you a pass-fail. When we do a pass-fail, it's because we pull in a standard, we look at the results, we compare it to the standard, and we say, yes, you passed, no, you didn't, and here's whatever headroom you may have. Of course, all that is fully reportable. One more thing I'll add to it. You can also set up, we have a concept of jobs. So you can set up a job in the cloud, or you can set it up on the tester. But if you had a fleet of these, and we had one customer bought 13 of them recently, they just saw basically what we have here is a virtual demo that you kind of click around on in COVID world. So we don't have that one for you guys teed up right here, but we showed them that, and there's like, this is exactly what we need. The price is perfect. So we did it. What they are finding is that they are creating a job in the cloud and pushing that down to the testers for all 13 testers, for all 13 remote sites, for all 13 people using them. They're getting consistent results from site to site all across. This is in Canada, from all across Canada, coast to coast, the entire country. They are doing the exact same test. They're speaking the exact same language. And one person, the senior engineer, is the one that designed the test that they're using. So it's really nice there. What we show here is kind of an expanded view. Obviously, the screen doesn't come down to the very bottom like that, but we wanted to, since we're in PowerPoint, we can do these things. So what we have here is just a subset, if you will, of some of the tests that are available in this thing. Again, you can set up a job that runs a bunch of tests, or you can just use it in troubleshooting mode where you need to go out there and simulate the number of sessions or whatever you have for a video call or CCTV data. The uptime is a great test. What I mean, why I call it great, is it has a 72-hour event log. You can actually run this thing, set it up the way you want it to run, look at a service, and measure it over time for 72 hours, and we will data stamp that for you and give a report on that. Why is that important? I'll use Michael's example again of the cameras. Work great during the day, but as soon as dusk came and that night vision kicked on, they did not work very well. Another one is we had one example, really crazy example, is the network would crash at certain times during the day, and very consistent. We hooked up the SignalTEK 10G, we looked at the event log, and we saw when the errors were occurring. We looked at the time, and they were on the coast, and they actually, one of the guys looking at it said, man, that kind of looks like the tide. And it turns out when the tide came up, the salt water came in and gave them some grounding errors. Go figure, they did not have a good ground. Crazy stuff that you would never do. But if you look at it over a 72-hour period, you start seeing patterns in there and can start, relating that to, what's going on to help you kind of solve that problem. Next slide. So, and this one, there's different things that we can do. One of them here is just a cable test. So again, I said we can just do a cable. Can this cable support this data rate, or does this cable, through the series of switches through the network, can I get it from end to end? So depending on what you want to do here, As you can see in the example 1, we passed, and we've had this particular test set up for 10 gig, and you can see the different rates we had on it. We looked at 64, 256, 512, and 1518 sized frames. You can select them all. You can select the length of time you want to use it. You can select just if your application only uses 1518, great. But all of that is available to you. If you go over to the next slide, or I'm sorry, to the right side, this one failed. What you can see on this one is, let's see, what do we fail on this one? It looks, 256. So why is that? And again, you want to go into troubleshooting mode to figure out why that is. But you can see on this one that if you have an application that's going to be sending 256 frame size, you're not going to be able to use it on this one. So again, you might pass it at 512 or something, but again, the different frame sizes, the different processing, the overhead that goes with the 64-byte frame versus a 1518 frame is totally different. So it's good to look at them all. Again, depends on your application, but we give you all of that available in setup.
I'm going to chime in real quick, Mike. You
Yeah.
know, that is a great feature, and that's something that's really great about the SignalTEK 10G that some other testers out there that say that they do bandwidth testing when they're not double-sided. This is something easily that they will not be able to capture. So that's just another reason why having the dual-sided, double-ended transmission test is vital, because sometimes the results you get from the one end might not be that accurate. And I think that this chart right here, in the instance with the frame size of 256, does a great job of illustrating how a more thorough analysis will really help figure out definitively what's happening, not just, oh, here's an advertised or we think it's this kind of a deal.
Yep. And you can see by the icons there's different ways to view it. In the top right corner, we don't have to zoom in on it, but in the top right corner, there's like a little page book. So you can look at this in table format. You can look at it in text format. You can look at it in different formats, depending on, what makes the most sense to you. All right, next slide. Again, I mentioned this before. When we designed this tool, we wanted to put in the things that you might also need. For example, a list of IP and MAC addresses of every device connected to that network. Which network am I on? What am I connected to? What else is on this network that can be causing me issues? VLAN, maybe I'm not getting this because I'm on the right VLAN, not on the right VLAN. So by giving you the VLAN detection operation, letting you know everything about the VLAN that you're attached to as well, again, is something that you're going to need. The CDP, LDP, EDP port information. So the discovery protocol that's in there at the MAC layer, we're going to pull that out for you. Just sometimes just being able to plug in instantly and say, oh, okay, you're connected to switch 8 port 7, or slot 7 port 3. That right there is just, huge time savings in some cases. The first screen here, let's go ahead and blow that one up, Michael. The port network, there you go. If you look here, we're connected. If you look at the green and the yellow and the connections, you can see we're connected in the middle, which is the Ether, the 10 to the 1 gig to 10 gig Ethernet copper port, and on the remote side through the network, we're connected to fiber. It doesn't matter. Copper, fiber, we get you from end to end here. While we're connected to power, you see the green up there. It says receive power. So we'll give you that reading. We'll actually measure the temperature of it and give you the reading that we're getting there. It might be you have a bad SFP. We're going to tell you that as well. So again, it's a throughput tester with everything else you might need for network troubleshooting. Now this one is, like I said, this is the test that this thing was really designed for. It's the max throughput. Can you get it out of your existing technology? And it might be that you can't get 10 gig. Other testers will say, fail, you can't get there. You might be able to get 9.7 gig out of it. So you failed at 10 gig, but again, this tester is going to tell you that. It does the step. It tries at 10 gig, and if it fails, then it tries at 5 gig. It passes. It goes to 7.5 gig, passes. Then it does the difference between 7.5 gig to 10 gig. And it just keeps stepping down like that till it zeroes it in, until it can run simultaneous tests for the time that you determine. without having any errors. And then that's how you get to that maximum throughput level. It's really pretty cool how it does it. I already mentioned TeamViewer remote control. If you guys, a lot of companies already use this for their IT departments. I know our company does. So yeah, it's built into the tester. So as I said, overnight a tester and not a person. If you're not familiar with TeamViewer remote control, you turn it on the SignalTEK 10G, and then somebody with TeamViewer download free gives them the code that the SignalTEK 10G spits out. They plug it in, and those two connect, and you're controlling it just as if you were there. When you're ready and you want to save your results, again, save them internally, save them to a USB drive, or save them to the cloud. We don't care, whatever works best for you, we're there. In this example, we're saving to Trend Anywhere. And so we just hit a sync button. When you do that, it pops up Trend Anywhere. You get a chance to log in, and all your results are here. Again, for the, you can create a PDF report out of any of it. When you have multiple testers from Trend Networks, all of your testers, our vision, every tester that we have, even those VDVs, when you hit a test, it's going to go up to the cloud as well. That's what we're working on right now. So imagine if you have a SignalTEK 4 and you just certify to Cat 6A standards, you have that in the cloud, and you have it labeled as customer A, building B, closet C, rack, whatever, your labeling scheme. Then you take that same labeling scheme and you put it into a SignalTEK 10G, and now you do transmission testing on that link through the network after it's been installed. Then you go search in the cloud for customer A, building B, whatever, and here's all the tests that have been run on that cable, all there together. Pretty thorough, and we're the only ones in the world who are looking at that to do so. And finally, the reports that I mentioned, these are really, really nice reports. At the end of the day, sometimes I say start with the end in mind. If you could, and this one has a lot of failures on it, probably would not want to give this one to your customer, but if you're an IT person at your own company and you're asked to do a job, let me simulate that load on it. And hey, boss, we're going to have to upgrade some stuff here. Look at this. We're not going to be able to do this. So I'm going to need some multi-gig switches. I'm going to need to replace the cabling in these 9 areas. I'm going to, to get to the information that we want, or the applications that we want, our network today can't handle it. And there's just a bunch of different, this is just a sample. Remember that other screen where I showed you all those tests? Each one of those tests has a report behind it. It does show up on the summary screen that you see on the left here, but all the detail is different depending on the test that you run. So there's no place to hide. Either it's going to work or it's not going to work. So with that said, I'd like to turn it over for any questions, challenges, any applications that this made you think about that maybe we can help with, and we'll certainly try to address those for you.
Hey guys, Carlos here. So I have a question. So when will the tester need to be calibrated?
That's a great question.
Go ahead, Michael. You got it.
Yeah. So just to clarify, not all testers need to be calibrated. Only the certifiers need to be calibrated. And they are per the TIA requirements, which is once a year. So as that relates to our portfolio, it is only the SignalTEK 4 series that needs to be calibrated once a year, but everything else, there is no need for calibration.
Great, thank you. Yeah,
the SignalTEK, it is a precision tester, but it doesn't have the frequency sweeps that the cable certifiers have. It doesn't have those. It's not that precision electronic that can drift over time. And that's just that's the nature of cable certification. We're one of 4 manufacturers of these tools in the world. All 4 of us agree, and by NIST, National Institute of Standards, transmission testing or whatever, that you need to have these things calibrated once a year. Cable manufacturers who are going to put a 25-year warranty on your work, want to know that that thing was precisely within spec when it did that.
Great. Another question. So what happens if I misplace my tester and someone else connects it to the network?
Michael, you got it?
So what happens if you misplace your tester and somebody else connects it to a network?
Yeah, tries to use it as their own.
Gotcha. So we don't necessarily have any security protocols in place. It's not really like an iPhone or an Android phone where you have to like put in a code in order to use it. So unfortunately, if you were to misplace it, I hope whoever finds it will return it.
I will add to that though. If they don't know what they're doing and they hook it up to the network and and start using it and they say, "Ooh, let me sync to cloud," you're going to know where that was. Anything they put on it, you're going to see it in your cloud. So you will know that it's being used and whatever. And whatever tests they put up there, they might, if they're really good or stupid, depending on which way you look at it, they put an operator name. So we will do things like that for you. But as far as just having the find me device, there's nothing that doesn't exist.
Great. I think that's it for now. So if you're watching the recording and you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Carlos. You can reach out to me at Laura@arrowwire.com, and it's spelled LORA at ARROWWIRE.com. With that, thank you so much for joining us or watching the recording. Everybody have a great day.
Thank you all. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.